She's an award-winning YouTuber and best-selling author obsessed with helping you go after the life you want.
I like it.
Join her as she seeks out the stories and strategies
Give me every little detail.
of extraordinary people who found success.
I'm going to get emotional. Oh my God.
Welcome to Detail Therapy with Amy Landino.
Good morning, good life. Welcome back to Detail Therapy. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing what I believe is the biggest barrier to a good morning that ultimately will help lead you to a good life. I'll be talking about the reason that good habits don't stick for most people and how you can make that change for yourself. We have a lot to get into today, but for those of you who are new to the show, my name is Amy Landino and I will be your host. I'm a YouTube creator, professional speaker, best-selling author, and business owner, and I'm here to help you go after the life that you want. You can find out more details about me by visiting youtube.com/AMYTV. This is quite the week for me personally. I'm officially beginning the process of writing my second book. It's called Good Morning, Good Life. If you've not already been briefed on this, if you've not already heard me say that phrase a billion times, that's what's happening. It is a guide to your ultimate morning routine for a successful life. Obviously, this is the theme of the day. We're talking a lot about this in the show. It's in the book. It's top of mind. And that is because this process is really getting going for me. I thought just to start the show, I would tell you exactly what that process looks like, whether you plan to write a book or whether you just like hearing what people's creative processes are. That's what I want to share with you now. So this week is kind of a big curation week. I'm spending a lot of time bringing together all of my notes, all the tips that I've shared on YouTube, any questions I've received from my Shine Squad members. I'll talk more about Shine Squad in just a few, and just anything about how to have the best morning routine ever, any pro tips I have heard that I love from brilliant people, also success tips from people who are just crushing it in life. What do they do in their mornings? I'm looking for quotes that I find inspiring, science that could be helpful, just absolutely anything from here, there, everywhere in between to help me write this book on the whys and hows of a good morning routine. So once I have all of this together and I've outlined the structure of the book, I will be then spending 3 weeks solid writing. So basically I set not a deadline. What's the word? A milestone number of words that I need to get done every single day. If I have 3 solid weeks, if I give myself X number of days, a minimum of 15 days, hopefully some weekend days as well, to write, then, you kind of reverse engineer how long do I want this book to be, divide that by the 15 or so days, and that's how many words per day that I need to write. So that's why it's really important to have pull all my notes together, go through a lot of this curation process at a different time, because you don't want to be doing this when you really should be immersed in the writing experience. And I chose 3 weeks basically because I spent 3 weeks doing it for the first book. What's interesting about that is I'd outlined 3 weeks in August. Ironically, it was August of 2016. Here we are, August of 2019, and I'm writing my second book. I tell this story a lot. There were 3 weeks I'd outlined, but YouTube had called me and said, hey, we want you to come to this creator camp. And it was the second of the 3 weeks I'd chosen. And I was like, well, how am I going to say, first of all, how am I going to say no to YouTube? And second of all, I was writing a book about video and YouTube. So truthfully, it was the best possible thing I could have done for further education to make the book even better. So in all actuality, I wrote for a week. I went to YouTube camp, and then I wrote for that last week, and I got it done still on time, which is like kind of shocking. So I'm very hopeful that I will be able to write this book in 3 weeks, because last time I did it technically in 2, but who's counting? The thing's got to get done. Amy, don't jinx yourself, for crying out loud. My writing process during that period of time is going to take place in an app on Macintosh for Macintosh. Who calls it Macintosh anymore? It's called Ulysses for Mac. I don't know if Ulysses is on other platforms, so that's why I'm saying that specifically. Formerly, I used what everybody uses, Scrivener. It's just not my favorite thing to use. It wasn't like visually compelling, and Ulysses is very like simple and easy and nice compartmentalization. I've just been enjoying it. I've been testing it a lot by writing blog posts, video ideas, notes for detail therapy. I'm actually reading the notes for this from Ulysses right now. So I've really been testing it, trying it out. And so that's where I'm going to be writing the book. So I'm very excited about that. This is not going to be the entirety of the writing process, however. I clearly am not a writer. I have one book. I technically am a writer. I don't know. Like, it's kind of like imposter syndrome. You're like, when do I get to say I'm actually a writer? I guess we can say that now, but it's not sort of the core of my creational being. I think YouTube video, well, maybe not YouTube, but video itself is definitely my sweet spot. Audio, therefore, has been good to me. I think you enjoy this podcast, but I don't think you would enjoy it that much if I didn't get a lot of practice talking in the visual form. A lot of people get really good at podcasting after a period of time too. I think that could have happened to me, but I don't know that I would have been so good at podcasting from the beginning if I didn't have a ton of video experience. So clearly this like multimedia immersive environment type of content is my best place to share. That being said, when I sit down to write, like, let's just get real. I almost like put an imaginary crown on. It's disgusting. I suddenly think I'm very philosophical and royal, and I start typing. And what that means, from a technical standpoint, is I sound a little bit too perfectionism, just too refined. And if you know me and you listen to the show and you watch my YouTube channel or any of those, if you've met me, I am not quite that regal. I'm pretty relatable, and that's not how I talk. So I recognize that when I sit down to write, I sometimes take a different headspace, and I think it's probably the pressures of a blank slate, So I'll be actually doing a lot of talking for this book writing process and a lot of dictation. So basically breaking out all the topics I want to talk about in the book and then actually talking them out, recording those things, getting them transcribed, and using that real voice of mine to actually implement words to paper. So I'm a big fan of this process. I didn't do it so much for the first book, so there was a lot of voice correction that I had to do in editing, which was quite annoying. But so I think that this is going to be really helpful in this kind of phase of my writing career. I just recognize where I am the most authentic, where I sound the most myself. And fortunately, we corrected the first book so well that I actually got a lot of feedback from people who read the book, not just listened to the audiobook, but read the book and said it sounded like you. And so that's the biggest compliment in the world that I can get, next to this book was actually as good as I was hoping it was going to be. Those two are very important to me. I don't care how many book sales I have. I don't care about any of that stuff. I care that the people who wanted to buy it and needed it say it sounded like me if they know me, or it sounded like somebody cool and they want to get to know me. And it was exactly what it said it was. It delivered on the promise, and it was an enjoyable experience. Otherwise, it's like, oh my God, Amy, why are you writing a book? So that's very important to me. So doing this kind of dictation process is going to be major. P.S. I have a ton of sticky notes all over my office right now. I basically have evicted the lights for my cameras, and I have now got just sticky notes everywhere. And the reason is, first of all, I took the lights out because you really need, for me, I'm a very tidy person. In order to be able to have an effective writing space, I need it to be clean. And the lights are a little bit overwhelming because they're very big and they feel crowding. And they're usually fantastic for encouraging me to make videos, but I'm not making videos for the next few weeks. So I had to get them out of here, clean off my desk space, kind of bring in some like oil diffusers. I've got a salt rock lamp now, some very vibey things that's better for writing, better for just brainstorming. And sticky notes, because every time I think of something that needs to go into the book, I write it on a sticky note, and then I find like the group of sticky notes it needs to be in as I am fleshing out the structure of this book. So even though I've kind of got a lot of the chapters and the sections and all these things really figured out, I still like to keep the sticky note vibe going. There will be a time though where it's too much clutter. I'm gonna have to get rid of it, but we're not there yet. So that's what is up with me lately. Videos will be continuing to come out every week on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And actually, the final episode of season 2 of Detail Therapy will be next week. This is episode 39. Episode 40, which is the season finale, will be next week. After season 2, we're going to take a short little break. Obviously, I'll be writing the book, and I will also be taking one quick trip out of town to start getting some interviews for season 3. I am so excited. Please head over to my Instagram and follow, because I'm going to be letting you know some of the people I'll be sitting down with, and I want you to help me write some questions, come up with some things that you want to know, so I know what to sit down and talk to the future guests of Detail Therapy about. So follow me at Schmitastic. You can also follow Details Podcast at Details Podcast, and I'm keeping you updated over there as well. Before we get into it, I just wanted to mention that the sponsor of this episode of Detail Therapy is my Shine Squad. Do you struggle with your morning routines? Do you want to improve your life, but you worry you're not surrounding yourself with the right people to make that happen? Starting a day on your terms is the ultimate way to build a life you love. And when you meet people who are ambitious and excited and happy about life, instead of finding yourself scrolling a network that is filled with negativity and sadness, you feel different. If you want to make those small incremental changes in your life that make a massive difference in your mindset, productivity, career, and relationships, then you want to join me in my Shine Squad. Shine Squad is what we're calling a self-improvement sorority. I'm very addicted to this tagline. I will not stop saying it. We talk all about better morning tips, how to build confidence, getting more connected to people who can help you thrive, and so much more than that. There are multiple levels for you to check out. Each of them is about the size of a weekly coffee budget. So why not rethink that latte for actionable life lessons? You can check out the perfect squad level for you by visiting the official Shine Squad community page at patreon.com/AMYTV. Here are some of the latest things that I have posted over there. First, a killer 2-list prioritization strategy from Warren Buffett himself, so you can figure out what you should be focused on. And no lie, I go after this strategy all the time. I'm like, okay, am I still focusing on the same things? It is such a good tip. Go check that out. Also, there's a post on what to do when you misplace your morning habits, and 3 ideas to leverage time cubes to help you be super efficient. I also give you advance notice of videos I'll be posting on AMYTV and exclusive live Q&As, lots of Detail Therapy perks. All these things, I only want to do for this group because it is so much more fun when you share it with an immersive environment of people who are focused on a common goal. So if you are one of those people, check out Shine Squad by visiting patreon.com/AMYTV. Join me over at patreon.com/AMYTV. I'll see you in the squad. On to today's topic, the secret to overcoming a crappy morning. I know you're super familiar with it. You can probably think of a crappy morning you've had recently. I can. And I think we need to get to the heart of where these crappy mornings come from. And spoiler alert, this is going to get interesting. I am going to get a little bit controversial here. I might upset you. I might piss you off. I might make you realize, holy crap, she's right. Either way, we got to talk about it. I can't sit here and pretend like I don't know what's really going on with a lot of us when it comes to the fact that we just can't get to a morning routine we're proud of. Have you thought about that? Maybe you listen to this stuff. Maybe you've joined Shine Squad, or maybe you haven't yet, but you're thinking, this is important to me. I want this. Why can't I have, why doesn't it just happen? Why isn't it just happening for me? Why don't I have a morning routine that I can be proud of? Now, you could be thinking a multitude of reasons. One of them might be, morning routines are overrated. It's not that big a deal. I'm not a morning person. Well, here's the thing. I'm a firm believer in the fact that the way you start your day is very important for how the rest of it goes. No matter what time you're getting up in the morning, this is true. And that's not the issue. The issue as to why you don't have a morning routine, the heart of it all, in my opinion, is that there is an addiction to drama. Okay, listen, hear me out. Let me ask you this. Have you ever waited to pay a bill, like your phone bill or something, just because? Maybe you even let it slip past the due date, but you did pay it. Even whether you had the money or not, maybe you didn't have the money. I mean, there's a lot of people who can't pay the bill on time because they just don't have the money. However, did you spend the money on something else? Maybe it was 29 days ago, but you did. Maybe spend the money on something else. In some situations, this is true, and that's why you don't have the money. Other times, you have the money. You just kind of, I don't have to pay it yet. I could pay it later. I can pay it the day it's due. Oh, shoot. Said I was going to pay it the day it's due. Didn't pay it. Now we're a day past it. Okay, let's pay it. Make sure we get that payment in there. It's done. You chance it, but you pay it just in time. Even if it's a little late, it's just in time to not mess up your life. Okay, how about this? Have you ever had one too many glasses of wine on an evening before you had something really important going on? Like you had a plane to catch the next day, or you have a presentation to do the following day for your office. You knew you shouldn't have even started, but then you think, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll get up. I'll be fine. These are things, the bill thing, the wine thing, these are things that we do to test ourselves. You know why we test ourselves? We test ourselves to find out what we're really capable of. This is what I call an addiction to drama. It takes place a lot of times with some people who don't have a lot of risks that they take in their life. Most of their life tends to be pretty mundane or pretty disappointing or just okay, or it's actually fine, but there's no reason to disrupt it in any major way. So we just play with the things, blur the lines with what we can, because you just kind of want to know a little bit what it's like to live on the edge. P.S. You are not actually thinking this. You don't think to yourself, I want a little drama in my life. In the same way that you don't think, I'd like some debt issues in my life, or I'd like a little bit of alcoholism in my life. We don't do that. We don't feel that. But we still kind of check it out. This is honest to goodness why I believe that there are people who do not have a morning routine that they present themselves to every day. And this is why I believe that. I want you to now think about a time where you got out of bed just in time for work. Or have you ever set an alarm for that very, very, very last moment you have to wake up so that you can catch your flight? Obviously, a lot of us are nodding our heads right now. It may not even be that hard to remember. Maybe you did it this morning. This is something we do on a regular basis. There are some days where you just don't want to have to get up until you have to get up. But you're still kind of testing out the day. Why do you think you're able to get out of bed like a flash when you set the alarm for something you have to do, but you can't get out of bed for something you aspire to do? My answer to that question is pain. Pain is something we anticipate. Pain is something we are looking for. Pain is something we are avoiding. And we just try to play this balancing act as well as we can. But all the while, there's this little bit of addiction to risk or drama that is also combating that pain as it happens. So you're still kind of looking for those opportunities to toe the line, make things a little bit more interesting, but you want to avoid the pain. The pain of someone saying you're late to work, or the pain of having to pay for a missed flight. We're always looking for ways to avoid pain. So when we get up for the alarm, when we know it's because we have to, the alarm is helpful. The alarm is helping us against that pain, to save us from that pain. But when the alarm is going off for you to do something that might be enjoyable to you, like a leisurely morning routine, well, now the only form of pain is getting up, waking up. That's the pain. You have to wake up. And we want to avert that pain like crazy. So we hit snooze and we go back to sleep and all is well again, because we're not towing the line other than that little thing that we haven't started taking seriously yet. So we just go back to sleep. until the alarm goes off again, where the additional pain comes back into play because every time you hit that snooze, you're getting closer and closer and closer to an outside commitment, potentially, such as reporting to work on time or getting to an appointment. This is the main reason why you're hiding from your morning routine. Whether you're already finding this controversial or not, it's understandable. I'm just trying to speak my mind. And I'm also giving you forewarning that we're going to take it up a notch here, okay? Because my next point is that having kids or a family in close quarters to where you would like to have this morning routine that's not coming to fruition, having them as your reason for not having that routine on your terms is a contributor to that little bit of drama that you like. Believe me, I understand how hard this is to hear. I just came off of a family vacation where I was so upset that I did not have my routine nailed for this environment. And I kept thinking, you know what, Amy, this is truly all your fault because I'm very good at absorbing responsibility. I know it's nobody else's fault, but that's not the story. That's not a good story. The good story is, oh, we were in close quarters together. We all were basically sharing a room. You know, it's very hard and all these things. And I can't wake up early because we were up so late and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's a good story when you have something to complain about. And that contributes to the little addiction to the drama. And it makes you somewhat relatable as well. Lots of people do this. It's the norm. You get to work every day, you stand by the water cooler, and usually someone's giving you some kind of bad news that happened to them, whether they sat in traffic for 45 minutes or they slept through their alarm. Sound familiar? When it comes to the people who are around you, and I'm just giving this as one example because it is the most frequent example that I get from people who are saying, I can't have a morning routine. My family is dictating all of this. When you wake up to the needs of your kids and your family, you're a good person. You wake up and you make good on that responsibility right away. The outside commitment, you make good on it right away. You're walking around all annoyed and upset that you are feeling rushed and that you're having to do all this stuff and you didn't get time for yourself, but they didn't actually dictate that. Just like you wake up for the alarm when you've got to be somewhere because someone's holding you accountable, you wake up and you take care of the people around you because that's what they've come to expect of you. And that's the routine that they know. And this is the habit that's already in place. The only difference between your good habits and your bad habits are the ones that are happening and the ones that are not. The ones that are happening are habits, good or bad. They're happening. Therefore, they are real habits. And so you do them. And there are cues and there are rewards and there are consequences and they keep happening. The only thing that is bad about habits is the good ones that never find their way in to disrupt existing habits that may not be good. What habit are you teaching the people around you about how you operate? What habit are you teaching yourself about how you operate? And by the way, maybe you are what Gretchen Rubin would call a questioner or a rebel, where your main focus is qualifying something to yourself that it's a good idea, and you're less, I don't want to say less concerned, but you not as often use outside feelings or opinions to make that decision for yourself. They're very much second to you, unlike an upholder or an obliger. Well, then why have you convinced yourself that this time for yourself is not a worthy cause? Why have you convinced yourself of that? What habit there do you need to break? Is it a limiting belief? Is it something that you don't think you're worthy of it? You have already made the decision that it's not important enough, and yet you're listening to this podcast. That's a big moment to address. P.S. Sleep. That's a whole nother issue. If you are not getting enough sleep, the morning, the alarm, everything gets shifted. Everything gets shifted. the first step to a crappy morning is to oversleep. We test the boundaries. Drama, again, playing with the drama, staying up too late. And this is not even me saying that if you're a night person, you don't matter. I'm going on this other tangent. Questioners, you matter. Night people, you matter. But if you're productive late into the night and you reverse engineer your life so you can do that great work at night and then you can go to bed at 2 a.m., then why did you go to bed at 4? Because you lost the 2 hours that's now getting applied someplace else. The bottom line here is everyone is different. Everyone's lives look different. It does not matter if you wake up early or wake up late. It doesn't matter if you're not a morning person or you're not a night person. It doesn't matter if you should not be waking up at 5 a.m. and it doesn't matter if you should not go to bed at 2 a.m. Who are you? Who are you? Not what everybody else is. And what does your life look like? Even if it changes every day. I've been seeing a lot of responses from Shine Squad of people who want to help me contribute to the book by saying, sometimes I work night shift. My schedule changes every day. It changes every day. Well, it changes every day. Everybody's day changes every day. It's just how does it change every day? And if you know full in advance, probably let's just say 7 days, your job has given you at least 7 days of what your work schedule is going to be. I hope. If they're not, then they're probably not a great employer. But if you don't know what your hours are going to be in the next 7 days, that's a problem. If you do, you can reverse engineer that. You can reverse engineer that. And say, okay, well, these are the days I have to do this and these are the days I have to do that. What are the leftover hours? When do you sleep? Mark that in. When do you get time to yourself? When do you need to do other things? Run errands, go see your mom, whatever. What are the other hours? If you just say, these are the hours I have to work, and then there's the rest of the time, it's very easy to sleep and watch Netflix the rest of the time. Very easy. If you do not plan, you have a life that is unplanned. And instead of letting your work scenario, which may be a fantastic scenario, it just happens to have different hours all the time, by letting that dictate how great your livelihood is elsewhere, that's unfortunate. Because for you, I could, instead of talking about a morning routine, I could be talking about an evening routine. That may be the only time you really get. It doesn't matter what time you wake up. It doesn't matter that the whole world says 5 a.m. is a great time. It doesn't matter, because if it's not you, then you just need to figure out what's you. But look at the habits that are already in place and look for the addiction to drama and where it's happening. I'll tell you right now, my addiction to drama is I got to write a book. It's a lot of things to do. And the Real Housewives would be a heck of a lot more fun to watch right now. Thank goodness there's a whole bunch of reunions on. It needs to end so that I can prevent myself from falling into that trap. Find the drama that you're a little bit addicted to. Try paying that bill 1 week in advance and see how you feel. Try paying that bill when you have the money. Immediately, not later. Try telling your friends, I can't go out tonight because tomorrow I've got an early morning. They don't need to know more than that. You don't need to tell them. You don't need to tell them about your routine that doesn't happen yet. I hate telling people things that I haven't nailed down yet. I'm trying out this 5 a.m. thing, but I'm not going to tell the world about it until I've done it. Yeah, you're darn right I did the 5 a.m. thing before I started telling the whole world to wake up at 5 a.m. No, thank you. I don't need any more accountability than I already got. I don't need people walking up to me and saying, how's the 5 a.m. thing going if I had a late morning, if I slept through my alarm, if things didn't go well. Things aren't always going to go well. You've got to build the habit. But the good habit doesn't get built until you make room for it where the bad ones are taking up space. Do you value your time? Do you value yourself enough to give each moment in time a purpose and design a day that makes you better rather than bump your way through the day to see if you survive? Are you going to just keep surviving or are you going to thrive? That's what I want for you. Stop having the crappy mornings when you know full well that it's on you. And you also know the problems are going to come. And the more you practice, the more you can handle it. Show the world what you've got with the positive obstacles that come your way, the ones that make you better at doing the good habits, not the ones that make you better at the bad. That, ladies and gentlemen, is my rant for this week. I was just really feeling that because I was dissecting a lot of submissions for the book, and this just popped into my head, and I was like, wow, this is something we need to talk about. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I want to know either your favorite part of this or the part that upset you the most, whether you're mad at me or mad at yourself. I don't care. You can be mad at me. Blame me. Fine. But is that going to make a change? Tell me what it is that's firing you up about this in the comments on my latest Instagram. If you go to @schmittastic, SCHMITTASTIC, link is also in the show notes. Let me know over there what you thought. Make sure you check out even more details about Shine Squad if you're ready to level up. That link is also in the show notes. Patreon.com/AMYTV, Patreon.com @AMYTV. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. If you would like to discover even more actionable tips, head over to AMYTV by typing in your URL, youtube.com/AMYTV, or search your YouTube app for Amy Landino. Make sure you subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life that you want. I'll see you for the season finale. Cheers.